What's going on, everybody? It's Gribbers here. Today we're going to go ahead and finally complete the chaos theory for Jurassic Park here on Jurassic World Evolution 2. Let's just take a look at the chaos theories here one more time. We chose to start with Jurassic Park here. As you can see, we did get 100%, mostly because it is a 2-star difficulty. It's technically the easiest one. Those stars are more or less just a recommendation. They're not really absolute, but in a general sense, this one is the easiest one. You would probably want to try Site B here next. It's a 3-star. This one is a 4-star. This one's a 4-star. And this one is ultimately the hardest one, being a 5-star. So once we finish up this one here, I'll show you in just a couple of minutes. I'm probably going to move over to Site B. Presumably it's the next easiest one, just to kind of get our feet wet here. If we jumped into Jurassic World, it would probably be pretty tough. So we want to kind of ramp ourselves up here. So let's go ahead and finish out Jurassic Park. We'll give out a couple of tips and tricks on how to go ahead and finish this last part up here. So we're going to go ahead and pause the game here real quick. We just completed our last video, and pretty much right after we did it, about 5 minutes later, we actually got a complete here. We finished up the map. So there really isn't much left for us to go ahead and do here. So we're just going to take a brief overview of my park and kind of what I did to go ahead and complete this mission here. So as you can see, we have a bunch of enclosures here. This was our final one that we just built. So we have 1 enclosure, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So we have 12 total enclosures here. You need at least 10 species. You can combine some of the herbivores, such as these guys over here. We have this kind in here. We also have this little guy with him. These guys were famous in the first movie. They got eaten by the T-Rex there. That pretty famous scene. So those guys can go together. But carnivores, specifically like velociraptors, Tyrannosaurus Rex here in the back, you definitely don't want to put them with anybody else. Leave them alone. Put them in their own enclosure here. Just try to make sure you utilize your whole park. You know, there's a lot of space here. We did have some empty space here in the bottom we could have used. We could have split this up into 2 enclosures if need be, but it ended up not being so. We didn't need it. So kind of the biggest thing I can tell you about trying to get to this 5-star difficulty, 5-star rating, might I say, not difficulty, is to just constantly check out your amenities and your coverages. So how you do that is you go ahead and you hit square. So we're going to hit square here and check out our park rating. So we're sitting at like a 4.8, 4.7, which is really good. That's what you're looking for. So things to pay attention for are on these next couple of screens. Scroll down to guess and look at guest comfort. My guest comfort is at 93%. That's pretty good. 100 is the goal. As you can see by guest approval there on the right side, that's 100. So just try to make sure you have enough restrooms, enough shelter, and enough hotels to house your guests here. You can kind of look at your ticket sales. This doesn't really help you out too much. This just kind of showcases you know, what types of guests are coming into your park and why. So most of mine were for nature for whatever reason on this mission here. People didn't really like to come for luxury, apparently, towards mine. But that's okay. Another important one you want to take a look at here is your amenity coverage. We have food, drink, and shopping. You want to try to have at least 90%, if not better, on all of yours here. So we're going to go ahead and resume the game here. It should click us to 5-star in just a couple of minutes here real quick. So how you could check on your amenities is if you go ahead and build one here, we're going to build a large amenity. And it's going to give you a red somewhere along the map. So right here, this little section, there's a little section here, a little section here, where there isn't any food coverage, because that's what I'm currently at. So we're kind of missing food down here, so I'm just going to build it real quick here just to kind of help this along, make this faster. So just make sure to nail out your amenities there. around the map. As you can see, I have drink coverage basically throughout the whole map as well. There's a little red part here, but there really isn't any space just based upon the layout of the map that I have. That's not really applicable. There's just a little space there, but everywhere around the outside of this map here is this bluish color, which means you have plenty of coverage throughout the map, so you're good to go. Anywhere there's red, that's where you need to worry. And there it is. There's our 5-star park. We did complete Jurassic Park here on the Chaos Theory. Mission complete. So we're good to go here. There isn't anything to do after this mission. So that's the final thing. You're good to go. There's no point in continuing on in building it. You could if you wanted to. It's up to you. Personally, I'm not going to do anything else here. There's really no interest to me. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the other Chaos Theories, but kind of just to reflect here back upon this first one for Jurassic Park. They give you plenty of space, so space is not an issue here by any means. Just make sure to use it wisely here. The toughest part was definitely whenever we were introducing this Tyrannosaurus Rex here that we did ultimately put in the back of the map, this set of 2 here. These guys create a lot of havoc. A storm rolls in as soon as you try to build that. You get sabotaged as well, so my recommendation is to definitely go ahead and tranquilize all of your carnivores, such as these velociraptors, these Dilophosauruses over here. I also had this carnivore over here, this guy. It's got a pretty tough name, so I'm not going to try to pronounce that, but I would recommend tranquilizing all of your dinosaurs here that are carnivores, just to kind of help you along. Pay attention to your money. Money really isn't an issue whatsoever here. As you can see, we did 5-star the park. We're sitting at about $1 million of income per minute. Upkeep of about 343. So we're looking at about $700,000 of profit per minute, which is a very healthy amount. I'm sure that some of the other Chaos Theories will be a little bit more difficult money-wise, but this one really wasn't. Once you kind of got all of your buildings down here, the revenue just started to pour in. Some other helpful hints I can go ahead and provide is every time you go ahead and get larger amenities, make sure to replace the old ones here. So you start with the small ones, such as this donuts here and this ginger beer. These are just small. They only hold 200 guests. As you can see, it's completely full. We did ultimately get larger ones here at the end, and these can hold 800. Large is 800, whereas medium is 375. So anytime you get a larger amenity, it's always helpful to go ahead and replace the old one and get you into a larger one. It's just going to give you more revenue, kind of more guests, make it easier to complete the mission here and get some money. I also recommend having at least 2 ranger teams here. I ended up kind of putting 3 in, but that was just as a precaution, just to make sure that nothing got out of hand. So overall, this Chaos Theory really wasn't that bad. We're going to go ahead and close out here and kind of see how much game time it took here, just to see how long it took myself personally. You definitely could do this a little bit faster, but this is my first go at it. It seemed to go pretty good, pretty quick. I think it was around 4.5 hours, something like that. We'll take a look at it. So if you want to go ahead and load up here, here's our save point. It took me about, 4.5 hours. 4 hours and 32 minutes to be exact, to fully get 100% completion there on their Jurassic Park Chaos Theory. So not too bad by any means. We're going to go ahead and get our feet wet here. We're going to try these couple other ones here in a little bit, probably the next coming weeks. Looks like I'm going to try Site B next. It's the next easiest one per se. But as a whole, these Chaos Theories really made the game interesting. You could just go ahead and go into sandbox mode and kind of create your own park, but there really isn't any challenges to it. It's just kind of laid back and relaxed. So Chaos Theory is honestly kind of my favorite so far. I've only done the one, but you kind of get to go through each movie here. There's been 5 movies so far, with the 6th movie coming out this early in the summer here, summer of 2022. So definitely pumped for that movie. But it kind of takes you through all of them and kind of the high points, the low points, what could go wrong. So I'm really interested to see what these missions can take. Challenge mode's pretty tough. We've completed 4 of them here on easy. We tried to go ahead and do Jurassic, and it was pretty tough, so we need to do some fine-tuning before we're ready to go ahead and release a video on that. But we have one chaos theory done here. Jurassic Park gets a check mark, 100% completion. Only took about 4.5 hours of game time. Not too bad there by any means. So we'll kind of see what the next couple missions bring. And just to kind of wrap it up here, I highly recommend doing these. It's fun, it's exhilarating, it's a little bit difficult as well. You kind of get to relive the glory days of the old movie. It came out in the early 90s, so it was kind of cool to go ahead and go back and see Hammond and things like that, etc. So definitely give these a whirl, and check out my 4-part series here of how we completed Jurassic Park here on Chaos Theory, and go ahead and take care of it yourself. So I appreciate everybody that tuned in here to this series and watched these. So if you did like this material, please make sure to drop a like on the videos, as well as subscribe for more content here. And we'll take care of these other 4 the next coming weeks or months. So again, I appreciate everybody watching. Have a good night.